But a better example, rather, I should say, is something a little closer to home here, and that's the Stillwater Bridge. There's been a proposed bridge across the St. Croix River into Wisconsin, which would alleviate a lot of traffic along Highway 36. You can look up the map if you're curious about the geography. Long story short, it's been in the makings for about 15 years, and surprise, surprise, guess who keeps filing lawsuits against it and prevents it from ever getting built? The local chapter of the Sierra Club. Now, does the Sierra Club want to help advance society, build the bridge so we can alleviate a bunch of traffic so the rest of the world can get on with their lives and we can produce more? Not to mention, I think the Sierra Club would probably be a little bit concerned about all the global warming they're contributing, having 100,000 cars stacked up on Highway 36 for 2 hours at a time. But again, the hypocrisy, it doesn't matter. No, they're going to protest against the bridge. Why? Because it's an easy target. It's easier to protest against the bridge rather than get a real degree in engineering or civil engineering, build the bridge, and have a career in engineering or to have a career in traffic management. Right? Now, if you look at the profile, just to show you there's a correlation, I'm not making this up, I wonder what kind of background the local heads of the local chapter over at the Stillwater chapter of the Sierra Club have. We look here, Vicki Munson, chapter coordinator, Bachelor's of Science in Recreation and Park Administration. Then spent a few years in the Peace Corps in the Eastern Caribbean. Good, great resume. Right? Heather Cusick received her law degree from William Mitchell. You will see law coming up more, and I will show you why later. Then we go, my all-time favorite, God bless you, Joshua Hudak. Joshua has a Bachelor's of Science in Geography, so he can tell you where Highway 36 is, from the University of Iowa, and holds a Master's in Outdoor Education and Recreation from the University of Minnesota. He has a degree in camping, a master's degree in camping. All right, what do you do with that? No one hires you. You are by default condemned to be a crusader and doing nothing worthwhile with your life. And then we go to Stacy Kawakami. She's the chapter's gift planning committee. You'll see euphemisms coming along later. And she has a Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Economics. So there is a correlation. Again, you see the worthless degrees coming through. Now, there's just one major problem with the destructive principle, and it's this. What if your society is extremely successful to the point it has so much wealth it becomes the perfect breeding grounds for crusaders? What do the crusaders destroy? Understand the paradox here that's happening. If you have an incredibly successful nation, you have the wealth, and there are now generations. You can have trust fund babies. Back 1,000, 2,000 years ago, unless you're in royalty, there were no trust fund babies. Generation to generation had to make their way. Well, in the United States, we are so successful, we have a lot of wealth, which then gives generation after generation the financial possibility of never having to work for a living. Right? So this is now where the paradox comes in. If you're that successful, what ailments of society are the crusaders going to go and attack and destroy? Well, they're going to go and attack the pillars of success. And understand the sick and twisted logic. The crusader is so arrogant, they don't care to find out whether or not or why we are successful. They just need a target. And so what they do is they attack the pillars of success. And if you look right here, look at all this. This is all under attack right now. Individual freedom, capitalism, liberty, rugged individualism. Nobody can be, you cannot be a Tony Stark. You cannot think independently. You must believe in global warming. Individual choice, Judeo-Christian foundation. Not that I'm religious, but there's no denying that, a large part of our country was founded in Christian and Jewish doctrine. But that is under assault. And just plain innovation and creation. Everyone must conform and obey, corporate or government. Right? So the crusader never asks why it's successful, never asks should we attack something that has made our country successful. I need a target. And because that's available, I'm going to go and criminalize it and attack it. Thus, why corporations are evil, yet, boy, I wish we had some jobs. So, all right, let's take a look at some case studies here. Al Gore, arguably the most perfect example of a crusader. If we look at his background, obviously rich, dad was a senator, and Al Gore tried. He went into the military, did serve in Vietnam, good, but he majored in English, but then majored in poli-sci, so that really increased his employment prospects. When he got back from Vietnam, went into divinity, and then into law school because Lord knows we need more lawyers. No private sector experience, none. Immediately goes into politics. What wisdom did Al Gore have to go into politics and dictate to the population what they're going to do? Well, he didn't. It's just that his daddy was rich, and why not? And dad had connections. And then you know the rest of the story. Vice president, ran for president, but failed. Now, Al Gore could have just quit and said, well, I got enough money after I didn't get elected. I'll go fishing. No, the ego is just too big. And so then he champions the greatest crusade that there ever was, global warming. Again, did Al Gore ever ask whether it was feasible or moral? Did Al Gore ever ask whether it was real? No, Al Gore is so arrogant and so totalitarian, he has no problem forcing this down. The $1 trillion worth of taxes, maybe $2 trillion, depending on what estimates you want to use, on the American people so he gets to feel good about himself. Right? Adam Pearlman. This is an interesting one. You say, well, who the heck is Adam Pearlman? I call him the American comic book guy because he looks like comic book guy from The Simpsons. And you can see he's that fat, dumb kid from high school, played Dungeons and Dragons, which I did play too, but I grew up. Son of a urologist, upper middle income, lived in suburban California, Florida. And quote unquote, he was bored at 17 in life. So does he join the Vegetarian Association of California? Does he go and start a rock band? No, what he does is he becomes Adam Qaeda. He joins Al-Qaeda. This is the American terrorist that you see on the news every once in a while. Okay? Does Adam Pearlman, I'm calling him Pearlman because when you change your name just for, I don't respect that. Did Adam really believe in Islam? Chances are no. Did Adam really care whether or not people might want to have their own freedom of religion? Obviously not. Adam Qaeda cares about Adam Qaeda, and he's going to force you to be Islam because Adam Qaeda wants to feel good about himself. Karl Marx. Karl Marx, son of a lawyer. Pretty well-to-do family background. Marries a Prussian baron's daughter. Going up in the world. All right? He majors in philosophy and literature. Good, during the Industrial Revolution, and then basically had a lifestyle he couldn't afford and lived off money that was given to him by his buddy Frederick Engels, who in turn got his money from his dad, who ran a textile factory. Now, notice they're living off of a capitalist system here, right? So Karl Marx doesn't want to actually work for a living. He just wants to write, and that's what he did. He wrote and tried to start, political revolutions in different countries. And the good news is that he died penniless. Right? Again, Karl Marx could afford such a luxurious lifestyle. He could become a crusader. It never dawned on Karl Marx that, hey, maybe you ought to go and shut the heck up and let people do what they want. And, well, now you know what communism has done. And thanks, Karl, you killed 100 million people without shedding a bullet. It was all starvation and an utter failure and collapse of an economic system.